To me, no matter what kind of storyteller you are, whether you're a screenwriter or you're directing or producing a film or writing a novel, you have one primary objective. You are really here to learn only one thing, and that is how to elicit emotion. People go to the movies, they read novels, they see plays so they can feel something. Not simply so they can think. You can get them to think, but to get them to think, you have to get them to feel. And what we are going to be talking about, and this is in my opinion, Chris will contradict in anything that he disagrees with, but in my opinion, what we are here to teach you to do is to elicit emotion in the mass audience for your product. Now, when it comes to storytelling, my belief is that at their core, stories are very simple. And certainly Hollywood movies are very simple. They are built on a foundation of only 3 elements. And that is character, desire, and conflict. Every good story is about a captivating or emotionally involving character who is pursuing some compelling desire and who faces seemingly insurmountable obstacles in achieving it. And that's it. In essence, if you've got those 3 things and they work, you got a good story. What we're here to show you how to do is make it work better. Now, when it comes to Hollywood movies, which is almost entirely the arena I work in, Chris works more with novelists than I do, and my experience and my sort of flow has been probably more mainstream than alternative kinds of film and cinema and so on. But the principles still apply by and large. But when it comes to Hollywood movies, all Hollywood movies must work on a visible level in those 3 areas. So for any Hollywood movie to work, there must be the element of character is what I term, or what we're both terming today, the hero. There must be a main character that we are rooting for, that we identify with. And that character is pursuing some visible desire and facing some visible obstacles. Now that's a lot right there. Because it's not just enough to throw a character on the page or on the screen and say, here's my hero, run with this guy. You must create that necessary identification. Identification simply means empathy. It means that the audience or the reader becomes that character as they participate emotionally in the story. The reason Titanic made $3 gazillion or whatever it made worldwide is not because it is interesting to watch a shipwreck. It is because it is emotional to become a character who's in a shipwreck. We become Rose. We identify with her. And we experience the emotion. We experience that story through her. We are Belle in Beauty and the Beast. We are Aladdin. We are Rose. We become that hero. And the way you create that identification very quickly is, number 1, you make that character sympathetic. You get us to feel sorry for that character by making her the victim of some undeserved misfortune. So in a movie like Titanic, for example, part of our identification is we just feel sorry for her because she's trapped with this jerky multimillionaire that she feels sort of obligated to marry, and she can't kind of escape. The next way you create identification, or an additional way, is you put that character in jeopardy because we identify with people we worry about. Well, as soon as you see her get on board the Titanic, we know what's going to happen to that ship. She's in danger. Now, it doesn't have to be physical danger. It could be danger of loss of anything of vital importance to that character. So, for example, he's about to lose his business in Rain Man because the EPA is holding up those cars. Or in Working Girl, she could lose her job. Another way you create identification is to make your character likable. A kind, good-hearted person. Someone we care about. Someone who is well-liked by other people in the movie. Almost any Tom Hanks movie uses that device. His career is built on playing those kinds of characters. We just basically like them. Another way to create identification is to make the character funny, because we like to hang out with people who make us laugh, and we like to become people who have the courage to say funny things that we may not have the courage to say. And finally, another means of identification is to make the character powerful, very good at what they do. Could be a superhero, could be an Arnold Schwarzenegger type character, an Indiana Jones type, or it could simply be someone like the character in Rain Man is so slick, so good at spinning all those plates and rescuing his business from falling apart that we are attracted to that. A very skilled lawyer, a very skilled computer geek in war games, something like that. So you must employ at least 2 or more of those 5 elements when you introduce your character. The next thing, that hero must pursue some visible goal. This is the foundation of basically my entire career. If there's one core element to everything I've written about, talked about, and coached about, it's that the foundation of a Hollywood movie is a hero pursuing a visible goal that has a finish line that we can imagine. So in Titanic, it's really not a story about surviving a shipwreck. That's an obstacle. It's about getting to America and winning the love of Jack. Or in the movie The Truman Show, it's about escaping. Or in Gladiator, it's about killing the emperor who murdered his family. So you must have a visible goal with that clearly defined endpoint. And then, in pursuing that goal, there must be insurmountable or seemingly insurmountable obstacles. If it doesn't seem impossible for your hero to get what they want, we don't care. That's why you don't see many movies about somebody whose goal is to drive to work. Now you could do that only if you could build a whole movie, and there probably has been one, about all the obstacles someone encountered as they tried to drive to work. But unless they encounter bombs and kidnappers and mysterious women who may or may not be trying to kill them, it's not going to be an interesting movie. It must seem impossible. That's why the movie is called Titanic, and you notice they didn't make the Queen Mary because that ship didn't sink, It's just dry dock there, nothing exciting about that. And the reason you must have that conflict is because, remember your primary goal. It is to elicit emotion, and emotion grows out of conflict. It is the obstacles that we either anticipate or see the hero encounter that create the emotion of your story. The goal is necessary to drive the story forward and give us something to root for. So that, in a nutshell, is a lesson on the foundation of screenplays or story. Now, there is another level to everything I just said, however. It's what Chris referred to and what we're going to talk about this afternoon, which is the inner journey. The outer journey is what I consider a journey of achievement, of accomplishment. You want to go out there and get something. In fact, Hollywood movies are so basically simple. That does not mean easy, does not mean simplistic, although they could be, but they're so basically simple at their core that there are really only about 4 goals that the heroes of movies pursue. They either want to win, or escape, or stop, or retrieve. In other words, they want to win a competition, Rocky, Karate Kid, Chariots of Fire, or they want to win the love of another character in any romantic comedy or love story, or they want to stop some bad thing from happening, a meteor from hitting the earth, or Buffalo Bill from killing that woman in Silence of the Lambs, or they want to retrieve something. They want to go out and get something and bring it back, a holy grail, a buried treasure, a bank robbery, Raiders of the Lost Ark would be that kind of film. Or they want to, what was the other one? Escape. The Truman Show, The Great Escape, whatever. They want to get out of some situation. Someone is pursuing them and they want to get away from that person. So those are the basic visible goals. But underneath that level is another level. What I think of as a level of fulfillment, of achieving one's destiny, where the goal is invisible. And that's what we're going to be talking about this afternoon.